Hello students, I am Dr. Gayatri, Assistant Professor at Smriti College of Pharmaceutical Education, Indore, from the Department of Pharmacology. Class of anti-anginal drugs are other anti-anginal drugs, and there are almost 5 different drugs which are involved in this class. So the first one is dipyridamole. It is a powerful coronary dilator. It increases total coronary outflow by preventing uptake and degradation of adenosine, which is a local mediator involved in autoregulation of coronary flow in response to ischemia. And it dilates the resistance vessels, and it also abolishes the autoregulation, but it has no effect on large conducting coronary vessels. Cardiac work is also not decreased because venous return is not decreased. So this drug does not reduce venous return. So when venous return is normal, cardiac work is also same. And blood pressure is minimally altered. Accordingly, it fails to relieve anginal symptoms or avoid the ECG changes which happens in angina patient. The pharmacological success but therapeutic failure. So pharmacologically, if we see, it is a drug that shows success, but then when therapeutically seen, it is a drug which has failed. So this has been explained on the basis of coronary steal phenomenon. And by dilating resistance vessels in non-ischemic zones as well, it diverts already reduced blood flow away from the ischemic zone. We know that in the ischemic zone, the blood flow is reduced. But then because of this action, because of dilating the resistant vessels present in non-ischemic zones as well, it diverts the blood pressure, which results in further reduction in blood flow to the ischemic zones. And dipyridamole inhibits platelet aggregation by potentiating PGI2 and increasing cyclic AMP in platelets. It enhances the anti-aggregatory influences. So in diseases such as angina and myocardial infarction, it is good if a drug is showing anti-aggregatory action. So that action is seen with this drug. So though it is not useful, because of this, though it is not useful as an anti-anginal drug as such in treatment, it can be used in prophylaxis. Prophylaxis of conditions like, because of this action, coronary and cerebral thrombosis in post-myocardial infarction and post-stroke patients, as well as to prevent thrombosis in patients with prosthetic heart valves. Coming to dose, it is given in a dose of 25 to 100 mg thrice daily. That is about dipyridamole. Coming to trimetazidine. Trimetazidine, this is an anti-anginal drug that acts by non-hemodynamic mechanisms. So there is no effect on determinants of myocardial oxygen consumption such as heart rate and blood pressure, both at rest as well as during exercise. But angina frequency of the patient is reduced. Also, exercise capacity of the patient is increased while taking this drug. In patients who are not adequately controlled by long-acting nitrates or beta blockers or calcium channel blockers, addition of this drug further reduces anginal attacks and increases the exercise duration. And coming to the mechanism of action, its mechanism of action is uncertain, but it may improve the cellular tolerance to ischemia. Trimetazidine is absorbed orally, partly metabolized and largely excreted unchanged in urine. Its T-half is 6 hours and it is generally well tolerated. Coming to side effects, the side effects of this drug include gastric burning, dizziness, fatigue and muscle cramps. Reversible Parkinsonism has also been reported in elderly patients. And this drug has also been advocated for visual disturbances, tinnitus and dizziness, etc. But there is no conclusive evidence about its use in these conditions. So coming to heart disease. It is widely used in countries like France, Spain and other European countries, India, but it is not used in UK and USA. It is mostly an add-on medication to conventional therapy in angina and post-MI patients. So this medicine is not given as a single drug or single treatment, but it is used as an add-on medication. And its dose is about 20 mg thrice daily. Coming to the next drug, that is ranolazine. This anti-anginal drug, it is a comparatively newer drug. It primarily acts by inhibiting a late sodium current in the myocardium, which indirectly facilitates calcium entry through sodium-calcium exchanger. So reduction in calcium overload in the myocardium during ischemia decreases the contractility and it has cardioprotective effect. Sparing of fatty acid oxidation during ischemia in favor of more oxygen efficient carbohydrate oxidation by inhibiting LC3K80 has also been demonstrated. This was earlier believed to be the main mechanism of action of this anti-anginal this drug, but then later it is understood that this is not the primary action but the secondary action. It has no effect on heart rate, blood pressure, but it prolongs the exercise duration in anginal patient. Coming to its side effects: dizziness, weakness, constipation, postural hypotension, headache, dyspepsia, and it should not be given in patients taking CYP3A4 inhibitors. And its dose is about 0.5 to 1 gram twice daily as sustained release tablet. Coming to the fourth drug in this class of drugs, that is ivabradine. So this pure heart rate lowering anti-anginal drug has been introduced recently as an alternative to beta blockers. So what it does, so there is a cardiac pacemaker current, which is IF, is a mixed sodium potassium invert current. So what happens, this controls the spontaneous diastolic depolarization in SA node, which results in regulation of heart rate. So this drug, what it does is, it selectively and specifically inhibits this pacemaker current, because of which heart rate is reduced and also diastole is prolonged. And because of this effect, it results in reduced cardiac oxygen demand and improved myocardial perfusion, that is oxygen supply. So it has this drug in clinical trials, it has been found to improve the exercise tolerance in stable angina and reduce the angina frequency, and it is indicated in chronic stable angina in patients with sinus rhythm who are intolerant to beta blockers, or when beta blockers are contraindicated. So if, as we have seen, they are used as an alternative to beta blockers. So they are used either in patients who are intolerant to beta blockers or who are in whom the beta blockers are contraindicated. It can also be used in inappropriate sinus tachycardia. Initial dose is 5 mg twice daily, which can be increased to 7.5 mg twice daily, and in elderly patients it is only 2.5 mg twice daily. Coming to the last drug in this category of drugs, that is oxyfedrine. So this drug is claimed to improve the myocardial metabolism so that heart can sustain hypoxia, and hypoxia better. Reduced oxygen conditions, heart will be able to sustain in a better way because it improves the myocardial metabolism. Though it is used in angina and myocardial infarction for over 3 decades, its efficacy and status in coronary artery disease is not defined. It can diminish, one of the side effects of this drug is it can diminish or alter the taste sensation of the patient. Coming to the dose, oral dose is 8 to 24 mg thrice daily, or IV doses 4 to 8 mg once or twice daily. So this